All right. Well, good afternoon. It's a real pleasure to be here. I think I've done, gosh, 8 stem cell talks, and maybe even more than that. And I'm always fantastically impressed with the audience and with the questions and how smart you guys are. So I know the future is bright. So what I'm going to talk about today is the phenomenon of stem cell tourism. There's not going to be any Gwyneth. I apologize, but happy to take Gwyneth questions if you have any burning Gwyneth questions. I'm going to talk about this phenomenon of stem cell hype, and it does kind of relate to celebrity culture, as you'll see. I do think this is an incredibly important topic and has broad implications, not just for stem cell tourism, but really for the introduction of emerging technologies more broadly. So what I want to talk about today is really this phenomenon of science hype, and the problem of the marketing of unproven therapies. Here I'm going to start with a discussion of exactly what the problem is, give you a sense of why I think that this is such a dramatic problem, and then I want to focus a little bit on the drivers, because I think you guys will find that interesting, and then maybe talk a little bit about possible solutions. This is really, to a large degree, a story about hype. So I want to start with a couple caveats. What I'm really talking about here, mostly, you guys, because I know you've heard all about stem cell tourism and the excitement of stem cell tourism already today, I'm really talking about these unproven therapies that are being marketed out there. These are really unproven therapies. And this is becoming more of a challenging definition as stem cell therapies move forward. In addition to that, I want everyone in the room to know I am a believer. I've been working in the area of stem cell research really since the late 1990s. I'm extremely excited about the potential, but I really think it's important that we have a discussion about how everyone, including the scientific community, talks about the potential of stem cell research. So that's one of my overriding messages. But this really is a story. I mean, there has been an incredible amount of hype around stem cells. So this is an important part of the story. I'm sure everyone in this room has been exposed to headlines about stem cells and their great potential. You know, when I first started talking about stem cells, not that long ago, you go into a room like this, and most people had not even heard of stem cells. Now it's become part of our culture. It's become part of our pop culture. And you even have ridiculous comments like this one. This is that was in the Globe and Mail not that long ago, and this was the billionaire who's financing his own stem cell research, saying this is huge, this is a game changer, it could eliminate all disease, this perhaps is immortality. So that's the kind of language you see permeating pop culture. And also what's happening is companies all over the world are taking advantage of this kind of language, and a phenomenon I call science-ploitation. And the idea here is you take a legitimately exciting area of science, whether it's genetics, whether it's nanotechnology, or stem cell research, you take that excitement and you exploit the excitement to sell products. So here's a really good example. The idea is that you take a tiny sample of your skin. You guys are all young, so let's do it now. And then you freeze it in nitrogen forever. And then you can use it to stay young and have that beautiful skin, that high school skin forever. Can you really do that? No. Too bad. But this kind of science exploitation has been with us, I think, almost forever. Certainly as long as science has been part of culture. And here's how the process has generally worked. You have an exciting development in science, and you have that development get a lot of currency in society. And then you have people start to market bogus treatments. So here you have the microbe killer when the germ theories first started to emerge. And then we had a lot of excitement around electricity. Benjamin Franklin et al. Just started mapping out the elements of electricity. And then we started having all these electricity-based therapies. Here's a belt that you can wear. By the way, you can still buy this belt if you're interested in curing your ills. You wear this belt, and it'll cure all the problems that you might have. Then we move into magnetism. That became a very popular and exciting area. And then there were all these magnetism therapies that you could buy. Here's a magnetic suit that you can wear. And if you look at the list of what they can cure, it's just about everything. Like, you got this magnetic suit, and you're good to go. And by the way, you can still buy magnets. Some people, you can buy magnets for your feet. If you got sore feet, you can get magnets for your back. Maybe some of you guys are wearing magnets right now. to cure your lower back pain. And then we move forward to the era of radiation. Madame Curie, etc. That became very exciting, and they actually started selling truly radioactive pendants that you could wear. I'm not kidding. Like it was really radioactive, and the idea is it would energize you, and you'd feel really great. You can imagine that didn't work out so well. And that you could also get radium water that was truly radioactive delivered to your house, like your milk. You'd have your milk and your radium water. Of course, that didn't work out so well either, as you can see from this headline. Okay, move forward a little bit further, and we have science exploitation happening everywhere. Now there's all these companies, for example, and I could have given you guys a million headlines. We do a lot of research on genetics also, but this is one of my favorite. There are all these companies emerging now where you can find your partner through DNA. Have you heard about this? You guys are all too young. You're doing it the old-fashioned way still. But what you do is you send in your blood sample, and they'll find you a perfectly genetically matched individual. Ridiculous, but there you go. And now we're moving on to stem cells, right? So we have stem cell exploitation happening here, and here's, as we'll see, there's lots and lots of that. But what's fascinating for me and for us at the institute where I work is we're really noticing, I think it's almost a dangerous shift in how popular culture is portraying stem cells. Now, and this is really just over the last couple of years, the presentation is as if the efficacy is taken for granted. In popular culture, efficacy is almost assumed now. There doesn't need to even be any explanation. You just tack the word stem cells onto some product, and it's a magical solution. It reverses aging. As you'll see, it can do many, many things. And this is, I think, very, very problematic. Let me give you a better sense of to the degree which this is happening, the sort of normalization of efficacy. You have, you guys see, there's lots and lots of sports examples, and I'll come back to some of them. You have the Blue Jay pitcher allegedly getting stem cell therapy. I think it was on his shoulder. Again, portrayed as if efficacious. You have the doctors, which is one of Oprah's shows. Again, portraying these therapies as if completely efficacious. Exciting work going on here, no doubt, with cartilage and stuff, but is it really at the point where we can portray it on Dr. Oz and on the doctors? I don't think so. And speaking of Dr. Oz, here we have Dr. Oz. The guy drives me absolutely nuts. I don't know how he sleeps at night on a bed of money. You have these stem cell facelifts now that you can get. And you can even go on stem cell weight loss therapy. Absolutely no idea how that would work. But, everyone wants to lose weight, and stem cells are kind of cool and sexy, so let's put that together in a headline and see if we can sell some stuff. And then, of course, you have Kim Kardashian, right? She's everywhere, my God. You have the Kim Kardashian vegan, I'm sure it's gluten-free and free-range also, stem cell facial. So you have that kind of science exploitation happening. And this is all fun stuff, but I think it's really important from the perspective of policy and ethics to get a sense of how this is changing the debate and having real ramifications. And I'll give you some more examples in a bit. It really does change the tone of the debate. And one of the best examples of that is the Gordie Howe phenomenon. Do you guys remember that? You see that in the paper? Gordie Howe. Anyone not see the Gordie Howe story? Really? What do you guys do with your time? Okay, so the Gordie Howe story. The Gordie Howe story. Do you guys know who Gordie Howe is? Yeah, okay. So Gordie Howe allegedly got stem cell therapy in Mexico, and it was portrayed throughout the popular press. It was portrayed as a miracle, as miraculous, and all through social media. And the same thing with Nadal. He got it on his back, and there's many other sports stars who have received this. And why it's important that one of the reasons that this change in tone to this presumption of efficacy is so important is for people like me, law professors, is now it looks like we are limiting access to Canadians for efficacious treatments. Follow that? It's as if these things really work and we're somehow withholding them from Canadians. I'll come back to that in a moment.